This is Jose Patiño with Aliento. Today is in case you missed it. We're going to be covering ICE and data and transparency, which one of those three words doesn't go together. But before we get started, one of the things that I really enjoy now eating, one of the foods and plates is curry, which I never thought I was going to be the case, but there's just like curry is amazing. So if you have any curry spots that you want to recommend, please do so, because if not, I typically just go to the same spot all the time. So the first segment we're gonna get started is around ICE and who is arresting. If we can wind back to the 2024 presidential election, one of the things that was being talked about a lot was, at least by President Trump, was they're gonna go after the worst of the worst. And a lot of Latinos, people that I know, and personally, but also you see media reports and polling data, they were saying that, oh, Trump is not gonna go after me because I'm one of the good immigrants. I am working, I have raised a family, I am somebody that Trump is not gonna go after. And time after time, we have seen that the current administration considers anybody who enter the country with a lawful immigration status, aka crossed up the border, or overstayed their visa and now don't have a legal status, they're considered to be criminals. So based off of the data, we know that, and we suspect that initially that there are a lot of immigrants and families who would be considered good immigrants or people who are coming here and just working and contributing to our society, we're gonna be arrested. The data now that we have shared is that on average, ICE has detained about 800 individuals per day. Again, the goal of the administration, Stephen Miller, the White House domestic policy director, was about 3,000. So they're well below that number. It's still 300% higher than it was under the Biden administration. Doing that would mean that they would go after individuals who don't have criminal record. So far, we have about 2 out of every 3 individuals who have been arrested from January of 2025 to December 2025 didn't have a criminal conviction. We also know that currently right now, as of April 2026, less than 2% of the people who are currently being held in detention don't have a criminal allegation, let alone a criminal conviction, other than being in the country undocumented. So even though it's good to remind people that being in the country undocumented or crossing the border undocumented is considered a civil violation, it's not considered to be a felony, even though some people in the administration are treating it that way. The other piece that I think is important for us to know is that within the immigrant population, there's different individuals, right? Traditionally, because we live in Arizona, but it has been associated with Mexicans or brown people. However, if we look based on ethnicities and based on deportation and arrest, if you come from a country, African countries account for about a little over 5% of the population, they're twice as likely to be arrested and detained as other immigrant groups, and 2.5 times more likely as Canadian or white European immigrants. So even within immigration, there's always different categories, ethnicities that get policed differently. Obviously, we know that there are over-policing in Black communities or policing in traditionally brown communities, but there is also that understanding that we need to know that while immigration as a whole, like for the state of Arizona, it's over 85% Latino, and then around the country it's over 60%. There is different ethnicities that treat it differently. The other piece of it that I think is important is that currently right now, 70% of the individuals who are being detained have no criminal conviction. Basically, all this data and what we're saying is that Trump is not keeping his promise of going after the worst of the worst. They're going after anybody that they think suspect to be in the country undocumented. And if you come from because of the Supreme Court that happened last year, which in my opinion and many others' opinions have legalized racial profiling, if you look like you come from if you have darker skin, you're more likely to be detained, and you're more likely to be prosecuted, you're more likely to be arrested, detained, and then later on deported. All that to say is that we're looking at transparency, and with the sheer number of people who have died in detention, the sheer number of individuals who have been deported wrongfully, the sheer number of people who are currently being arrested who don't have criminal convictions, and hopefully as we keep moving forward and this continues, that we see ICE retract some of those actions. But if they're not going to do it willingly, we have to be ready to make sure that we continue to advocate and never lose sight of our convictions as a country and as a community that families belong together. Now to talk about another agency, USCIS. Traditionally has been one of the agencies, the whole purpose has been it's a fee-run agency, meaning that the agency itself is sustained financially by the applicants applying for visas, adjustment of status, DACA renewals, work permits, any of those things. That's how the agency typically sustains itself. We have heard, not in the last year, troubling developments of individuals who, like for example, Daisy, she and her husband went to an appointment. The husband is a veteran, where we're going to adjustment of status. They were hoping to go to the interview. She ended up getting arrested because she had a previous deportation order because she entered the country seeking asylum. That was while it was pending. She got to a relationship, married her husband, had no other criminal conviction, and then because they were hoping to be able to adjust their status. We have for other individuals who, especially attorneys, as well, who are their clients, are there going to USCIS for an appointment to typically adjustment of status, meaning get their green card, and then encountering ICE or getting a notice to appear in front of a hearing, a deportation hearing. It's troubling because this agency, they're supposed to be separate. ICE is supposed to be separate than USCIS, but right now it seems, I'm not saying it is, but it seems like they're collaborating together, and that's causing a lot of constraints and concerns within the community. Additionally, the Cato Institute released a report earlier this month about that green card applications by USCIS has increased over 50% in the last year. That is troubling. We also know that less and less staff. I know that at least what we're hearing is that agency itself has been understaffed. We're currently hearing about DACA delays as well. So make sure if your DACA expires within 5 to 6 months, make sure to submit your application. We're also hearing the same thing about TPS holders. Overall, there's a lot of concerning developments about USCIS. That doesn't mean that you should not apply for adjustment of status, a U visa, renew your DACA. I continue to encourage people to do so, but again, make sure you check with an attorney. If you have an attorney, make sure that if you're gonna go to an appointment, don't go by yourself. Go with somebody that you trust and has a U.S. citizen. And also keep lifting up these cases because it allows the congressional offices to advocate on their constituents' behalf, because what's happening right now is not supposed to be happening at all. Some good news, at least for the Phoenix area, is that ISIS will no longer be at Phoenix Sky Harbor Airport. And Mayor Kegayo announced it last week. They were there. It didn't seem like they were doing a lot of things useful, in my opinion. Now they're gone. We're still going through a government shutdown. DHS doesn't have funding. It's not being felt because last year the Congress allocated so much money to DHS that it's now using that money to pay. And regardless if you're traveling or not, it's important that you're able to know your rights. I know that a lot of people are saying, like, Jose, I know my rights, but ICE is not respecting people's rights. It doesn't give an excuse for you not to know your rights and advocate for yourself. We know that currently ICE agents and other folks are not respecting people's rights, constitutional rights. We got to make sure we know them. If you have any questions, you can always go to alientoaz.org/resources to be able to get more information. And again, you're not alone. I know that this is a weird time, a difficult time, but we have seen that together and advocacy really makes that change. A couple of weeks ago, we saw that Annie Ramos was released. We have seen many individuals who have been able to release through the advocacy of the community, and we have seen individuals step down, and we have seen policies change. So we must never give up. We always continue fighting and advocating.